Wonderful. Well, I want to get started. So today is class 2, Cooking with Heart. So this to me is one of the most powerful lessons. So all of it's good though, all 4 lessons, but this one is one of those that's really left out in most programs, in most classes, and it's really, really important. I've actually written a chapter in a culinary text for nutritionists and chefs. This was my chapter writing about home-centric design. I had to write a chapter for, imagine like a studio apartment in New York, if you had a tiny little place there, to a model kitchen in Texas. Okay, I used to live in Dallas, Texas, and they love doing things big there. So, but yeah, so there's things that you want, principles you want to keep in mind, doesn't matter. And it doesn't matter if you have a designed kitchen or not. You can make do. You really can. You can have fun in your kitchen and do all these things to make delicious food. So, okay. So let's see. Next week, we're going to go into transitioning to plant-based. So we are going to blow your mind on wraps next week. So I'm going to show you all kinds of options on wraps. We're going to do a hoisin. I used to put hoisin sauce in it, so I was like, what do I name it? Because I took out the hoisin. Hoisin is just really high in sodium. So, and there's only one brand that kind of comes down. So I was like, oh, we got to do something else than this. So, because I don't want you to like buy just hoisin sauce just for this one recipe. So I found a great substitute. So, but it's a hoisin-like sauce. It's got nice zing flavor, that kind of stuff. We're also we're going to delve into a trash talked food. Okay, that would be tofu. Okay, I saw some noses crinkle. Okay, so, okay, you don't have to try. Okay, but I will warn you that I have never had leftover tofu of the barbecue. Okay, because people are amazed. Now, the tofu is just like anything else. You figure, I'll teach you about the different ways you can prepare it, and you're going to find whether you like it soft, a little more well done, or very well done, essentially. So, but it's a great minimally processed option that's plant-based. So it opens up the door for options. Okay, so you do not have to eat it, and you could still be optimally healthy without it. Let's see, we're going to do a salmon dish next week, but it's going to be canned salmon. So I call it salmon sushi bowl. And it's just I love it. So I make it all the time, and my kids love it. What else are we going to do? Yeah, so those are the main things next week. So today we're going to do quinoa berry bowl with a secret sauce that all chefs know how to make. It's reduced balsamic. So it is one ingredient. It has no saturated fat, no sugar, and it stays forever. So I have it next to my stove at all times. So, and I will show you how to make that, because there's a little bit of a finesse to it. So, okay. So, but you're gonna be a master of it. We're gonna do spiralized zoodles. So how many of you have done zoodles before? Okay, some of you have played around with zoodles. So we're just gonna do basic zoodles. And much milder than last week. We're going to use basil and garlic in there and some tomatoes. And then we're going to have roasted broccoli, because you need to learn how to roast vegetables, because roasted vegetables are night and day from fresh. So I'm not trying, fresh is great, but if you have trouble with vegetables, you might find the secret is roasting them. And then nearly instant crunchy peanut bowl. This is another one that takes nearly no time to make. And it's a great go-to. I have a lot of people that are like, yeah, that was really good, and I can't believe it. So very easy to have the ingredients on hand. Okay, so question for you: what ways do plants promote heart health? What ways do plants promote heart health? We talked some last week, but we're going to start introducing some more things here. So
low calorie and low fat.
Low calorie, low fat, yes. And what are they high in?
Vitamins.
I heard something, space and fiber, water, those kind of things that fill us up. So yes, they also are high in potassium. And I didn't really get a chance to talk a lot about blood pressure, but one of the secrets that is lesser known is that if you get more potassium, especially through natural plant foods, we see your blood pressure decrease. The other thing is nitrites. So we find nitrites in green leafy, especially the dark green leafies, and they have a mechanism that works at its blood pressure. It's called nitric oxide. It's a gas that's fabulous in your arteries. Okay, so I know it sounds dangerous, but it's not. It's just tricky because we can't take a pill and all of a sudden create nitric oxide. You got to just eat healthily and have a healthy lifestyle. So yeah, so and then antioxidants, we find them in fruits and vegetables that are brighter in color. So whenever you have the chance, go for brighter, deeper colors because you know it has antioxidants. And then the other thing, polyphenols, we haven't really talked about them. We're going to talk more next week because they're in the plant kingdom there. But they help decrease oxidative stress and inflammation in your body. So we find those in plants. Okay, so one of the hardest parts of the journey that you are embarking on is keeping motivated. So we've got lots of distractions and things going against us, but I want to give you different ideas. We're all a little different. And one idea I got from one of my favorite podcasters, he's a doctor, he's a top health podcaster in the UK. He's called Dr. Rangan, and he's a great guy. He earlier on in his GP general practitioner career, he actually did a show where he lived with patients, lived for 2 weeks. And these were like commoners in the UK. So I don't know if you know anything about UK, but they have smaller places than us. Okay. So he's like 6'3", 4. And so he would have to like sleep on their couches. They didn't have guest bedrooms. Okay. So, but bless him, he did this because he wanted to observe people in their natural environment to see what he could do outside of meds to help them. And he discovered quite a few things, no surprise. But one of his ways to help motivate patients is he uses coffee beans. And so everybody here has been given some coffee beans, just so you know, at home. So they smell delicious. But the idea is, and what happened to my coffee? My coffee jar, I disappeared it.
I have it.
Okay. Oh, okay. No, that's okay. That's okay. So the idea is to put this somewhere, maybe even outside of the kitchen, and then put a little container of beans. And then as you go past, think about all the different things you've done, the changes you've done on your journey, just different thoughts, different conversations you've had, rearranging the refrigerator, reading labels, and each one of those you want to put in a bean in the jar. So anytime you're making a change from before taking this class, you put a bean in there. So coming to this class, a bean. Okay, if you took the nutritional assessment, which several of you already have, and I just emailed that to you late last night. So, just those sort of things as an investment in your health. I'm going to pass this around so that everybody in the room can add their beans and think about the different things you've done this last week. But I want you to be motivated to think, because I know sometimes, your blood pressure might not be the way you want it, your weight might not be, your mood may not be exactly, or your energy, but you're making changes. And that's what I want you to really focus on. You're going to get there. It's a journey. We don't know exactly how windy and up and down the path is, but you're doing the work. And that's what I want you to focus on. So, okay, while we're passing that around, I want to stop and I want to hear from you guys. I know there was a lot of buzz in the room about some of the things that people have been doing and questions. So I'd love for you to share so that the people at home can hear and so that the other people in the classroom. So yes.
Dr. Runyon, how are you spelling that?
It's actually very much like my name, last name with an R, Rangan. And he's fabulous. He's not like really out there integrative. I mean, I'd say he's integrative in a sense, but he's a GP. And he is all about being open-minded. He has guests that are, I would say, well vetted before they appear. So I've never been stung with some of his guests and following their stuff. But he's open-minded in the mental health, in the working out, and he's very big advocate of nutrition. So yeah, so he's one of my favorite podcasters. So okay, so time to share. What this is about learnings. This is not about, I want us, everything is a success. A change is a success. When you tried something out, it's a success. Yes.
I had salmon and fish tacos this week and I forgot how much I like grilled fish.
Ooh, okay. And what is your first name?
Ellen.
Ellen said she had salmon and fish tacos and she forgot how much she loved grilled fish. Yes. Yum.
Amos was telling me that she's made 4 of the recipes in the book.
Wow, Kay. Kay has made 4 of the recipes in the book. Awesome. Kay. Whoa. Awesome. Okay.
I wanted to press it and see how it tasted.
Yes. Okay, there we go. Okay, awesome.
Good to me.
Okay, so you got some keepers. You're gonna test out recipes and go, nope, not gonna be a keeper. And some are gonna be keepers, or some are gonna be like, well, I know I could probably play around with this and make it a keeper. So yeah. So other things, I know we had some sharings there. You gonna want to share? Can you share?
Okay, over the weekend, I went to the farmer's market. I also do a lot of walking, so I parked at the Black Hawk Hotel, walked to the farmer's market with my backpack. I bought green beans, sweet corn, and a cauliflower. And then the next day, I went back and bought cantaloupe. Because I didn't have enough room in my backpack on Saturday. And yesterday, I bought fruit at Hy-Vee, bananas, blueberries, they were on sale. A spaghetti squash.
Wow. Awesome. Does that sound delicious? All those things, the colors she has. So wonderful. Oh my goodness, your body's going to love it. And a lot of delicious options there. So wonderful. Thank you for sharing. Others? Yes.
I'll try that naked burrito bowl thing.
Yeah.
Very good, family had it.
Yeah.
We also had made some fajito bowls as well, because of homemade salsa.
What's that last one you said, Jermaine?
Homemade salsa.
Oh, homemade salsa he made. Awesome. And he made the naked burrito bowl and said it was good with the family. Now, do you have kids?
I have 2. One's
Okay.
6 and one's 2.
And it went over well with them?
Yeah.
Awesome. Great to hear. Awesome. So easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Others? Yes.
I made the kale salad.
Ooh.
Love that.
Yes.
I was gonna try, my sister had suggested putting maybe some cucumber in there.
Uh-huh.
And I thought maybe red onion would be good,
Ooh.
but I didn't add any of that. I just made it,
Sure. Made it the recipe?
how the recipe is.
Yes.
Yeah, I tried to get my son to try it. He said, is there meat in it?
Okay, well.
No. He goes, I'm a meat and potato guy.
Yes. Yes.
Well,
No
He's-
worries. Yes.
he's not gonna be easy to persuade.
Well, all you can do is offer it up and then let it be. So Sherry made the kale salad. So she has some great ideas for maybe adding cucumber or maybe red onion. I like the red onion with that kick because the kale has kick. So it's really nice to match it up that way. So, but you never know. Surprises like cucumber might be perfect. Any others? Okay, awesome. Don't be afraid to share, guys. Here's the thing too. Don't compare, okay? You are each on a journey, and it's your own journey. And I want us to celebrate everybody's successes, but I also want us to stay away from comparing. So it's real easy to do and say, gosh, I didn't do as much as, or I could have done, or I should have done. This is all about you're taking a step forward. You're here. You're figuring out some things that don't work, some things that do work. That's all it's about. So just keep going. Baby steps. Okay. So let's dive in today for our topic. So how many of us don't know that we need to eat more vegetables? How many of us don't know we need to eat more vegetables? So we all know that. We all know that. So yes, for most people, the problem isn't what we should be eating, it's putting it into practice. So we want to put it into practice so it's autopilot in our lives. So there's a quote by a Stanford behavior change researcher, Dr. BJ Fogg. He says there's only one way to radically change your behavior, radically change your environment. Think about that. You are a result of your environment. Now, we want to create an environment that favors the habits that you want to take place. Now, behavior change journalist James Clear, he calls this priming your environment. So let's try this out in something other than food. Let's say you want your grandchild to read more. What are you going to do to help them read more?
Read in front of them.
Read in front of them. Provide books. What do you get?
Library.
Take them to the library. What's their room going to look like?
Bookshelves.
Bookshelves, maybe a reading corner. Yeah, this is what we do. A comfy chair. So yeah, that's how we prime the environment to make it easy for them to read. Okay, what if you want to sleep better? What sort of things are you going to do to set yourself up to sleep better?
Related to television.
Lights, I heard, television. Yes, maybe phone in the other room, charging. I don't know. These are all things I'm not saying you have to do, but I'm saying these are things we consider when we're trying to set ourselves up for falling into the habits that we want to happen. So you are a product of your environment. So if we organize it to make it easier, then it's more likely we're going to engage in that habit. So, okay, we also want to increase the friction for those habits we want to stop or limit, okay? So we want to make it harder to engage in those things we really want to avoid. So let's do some examples of applying this. If you want to eat less, do we serve food on a bigger or smaller plate? Smaller, going from a 12-inch to a 10-inch. Studies show you eat 22% less calories, even, just doing it, okay? Knowing that you're eating, you have to go for seconds for another one, but it works. If you want to stay away from junk food, which answer creates the most friction, A, B, or C? A, put the junk food on the counter. B, put it out in the garage. C, put it in the storage room where you need a ladder to get to it.
With a lock on it.
Yeah, with a lock we added in there. Yes, exactly, guys. Make it hard to get to.
Don't buy
Put it in the trash. Don't buy it. Yes, I know. But some of us have young adults in the house. So, yeah. So, okay, if you want to avoid eating chocolates at work that are in a dish near you, which creates the most friction? You put them out of sight in a drawer, out of reach, move them 6 feet away, or leave them just as is.
out of sight, so you can represent it on itself.
Put them out of sight is gonna, but we find even 6 feet away, if you don't really have the jurisdiction to make that disappear because it's the community candy pot, even putting it 6 feet away, we find it halves how often you go to it. So just, at least keep that in the back of your mind. So one more, if you want to make meal prep easier, do you A or B? A, assume you will get home every day, 1 hour before dinner time with lots of energy left, and you'll be motivated to make the whole meal? Or do you find when your mental energy is the highest for you? Maybe after dinner's done and cleared up, you do meal prep for the next day. Or maybe first thing in the morning with that cup of coffee when you're alert. Or maybe on the weekend, on Sunday afternoon where there's no pressure. And what do we normally do? We are optimistic that we're going to get home in time to make that meal. Hour minimum prep. Okay? It doesn't happen, guys. It doesn't happen. You're setting yourself up for problems. So, okay. So let's hop into the PowerPoint. So where I have some more tips there. Okay, I hit share. Wow, isn't it? There it goes. Wow. Okay. Okay. Do you see the screen up there?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. So let's make, why is that one? I don't know why that one's there. Okay. So if you keep good food in your refrigerator, you will eat good food. Sounds logical. The kitchen is the most critical environment for healthy eating. Now, how many food decisions do you think on average we make a day? They've done studies on this. So how many do you think? Guesses?
10.
Well, how'd you say, Christy? 1,000. Whoa. Okay. You got a good start there. I heard 10. I heard 50. Okay. 219. 219. Yes. Because we're thinking like, should I eat now or will I have time later? Or what do I have? What do I feel like? How hungry am I? So, do I want to have green tea now or a cup of coffee? How many cups of coffee have I had? Oh, so time. Everybody else looks like they're going for lunch. Is this a good time for me, or should I? Well, I'm in the middle of something, so all kinds of decisions about hunger, about the time, about the food. So, okay. Now, what we have on hand is really important. So the number one strategy to ensure success is to have an environment that supports healthy habits. So how do we make our kitchen a healthy environment? Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna break down the kitchen into 4 zones to make it more manageable. So we've got the refrigerator, the freezer, the pantry, the countertop. So now the number one influencer is a refrigerator. Okay, that's the number one there. Now, I don't know if it's in our DNA or what, but all of us, when we get bored, what do? We eat. And where do we go first in the kitchen? Refrigerator. I've seen my kids do it. I've been like, where's the refrigerator? They're just sitting there. It's just some instinct we have. So, okay. So this is kind of a 1950s refrigerator here, and it was done for food safety. I know, I get that. But here's the funny thing is our food should be turning over so that we don't really have to worry about some of the guidelines we've been taught about food safety and where it is and stuff like that. It's like we should be going through a lot of fruits and vegetables in a week. So a study in the UK, they asked people where they look first in the refrigerator. And most people said somewhere near the center. For most people, they picked an item in the center, just pick one item, the first item they see. Another study they did where they had people take the items in the drawers at the bottom, which usually are fruits and vegetables, and take them and put them on the top shelf. And in 1 week, they ate 3 times more fruits and vegetables. So which is more important, what you're eating or the humidity of it? What you're eating, because you'll go through it quicker. So where your eye goes first is what I call your primo real estate. It's the most expensive area in your room, in your kitchen, because it's the one that's you're eating the most off of. It's prompting you to eat. So I call it the New York apartment real estate. So it's really expensive. So in just a moment, I'd love for those at home to run and see. But those here, I want your assignment to be when you get home to go to your refrigerator and open it up and see where your eye goes first. Is it the top shelf? And it really doesn't really have I don't find a correlation with height, how tall you are. It tends to be the upper half, right or left, kind of depending upon if you have a double door or one side, whatever. But see where that is, because that is your most important real estate. It really, truthfully is. And you can have the most influence on what you eat by what you decide to put there. Okay, so now this is my refrigerator. I tend to have my fruits and vegetables, the top two shelves. It changes a lot, okay? I sometimes have 4 kids at home, sometimes 3, sometimes 2, sometimes 1. So it changes, and it changes right now. I've got kids rotating on who's doing menus and stuff. So, but I always have those top 2 shelves filled with fruits and vegetables, and the right side is where my eye goes. So I make sure I'm strategically putting things there. So you can see there, I've got vegetables ready to grab in baggies. I don't use baggies anymore. I've switched to some recyclable baggies and containers, but you know, you start somewhere, guys. So, and you've got to put fruits and vegetables in ready to go format in that area. Don't just put a bunch of broccoli there, okay? Because, or a carrot. Because you have to dirty dishes, and it's going to take a minute or 2 to peel and chop. You're not, when you're in that bored state of, or I'm hungry, you are not going to wait 2 minutes. You're going to just set the refrigerator and go for the potato chips, or go for some leftovers that you had from 2 nights ago. So take out. So you've got to look at, so here's another time with my refrigerator. You can see on the right-hand side, the little containers. I have these little containers. I bought like 50 of them. They're a little on the small side, but they were inexpensive, and they're clear. Clear is important. Glass is ideal, but I don't have the bank account for glass. Baby, if you have anybody that's going through the baby's food storage containers, they're nice thick glass. So those are nice to pick up at garage sales. But just make sure, and you can see there, I've got the peppers, the small orange and red peppers at the top there. Those you just need to run under the water and eat, or just eat right out of the bag. So just make sure you have start thinking about what it'd be that you want to have there. Roasted veggies, bulk salad in individual containers. Again, the bulk salad in a big container might not be quick enough. You might need to at least have 1 or 2 individual portions that you can grab and go, or grab and go back to work. Even if you're working from home, I find I eat the best on the days I come in here because I pack. So, and I've got it figured out. My decision is made. Whereas I'm at home, I lobbed it all around a little bit. So I do usually make sure I just grab, I'm at home, I grab the container with the 1 in there and sit down and eat, because it's easy. Okay, so here's some hacks, organization hacks to make it easier. There's all kinds, but I want you to start thinking about how you can take those foods that you want to eat more often and break it down so it's easy. Right now, school's about to start, and my just turned 14-year-old, she's into smoothies for breakfast. Okay, not my number 1 food to eat for breakfast, but there's a lot of potential there. So we have been testing out smoothie recipes every morning, and I have a little card. That one didn't work. That's too sweet. That's not enough mango. Okay, we don't want frozen strawberries. We want fresh. Okay, so we're testing them out. So I'm figuring out, according to her preference, what the recipe is. It's going to take a week or 2. Okay, once we get that, Then we will look at, do we have the blender? Do we have the mason jars to make, prep? She said she'll do prep on Sunday. So then we'll look at, what can I put in the refrigerator all ready to go? What do we need to do the night before? How can I help a little bit maybe? So, but it's all those steps of figuring out how to make it easier, so you just fall into doing it, because I'm just excited that she switched off of her very white enriched bagel with real cream cheese that she was eating for a while. I just, it's, if they're interested in food, first of all, that's good. Then then I do my stuff. I don't push, and, we cross our fingers and toes. So, but I find telling kids once they're over about 13 doesn't work real well. So, so I don't know what your experience is, but, okay. So going back to here, the oatmeal. I put my oatmeal, I know it's in the old fashioned oats container. I could just put the 1/2 cup measure in that, but I don't like that. Okay. So when I get home from the grocery store, I put it into my container there, put the 1/2 cup measure. That stays there all the time. I don't have to wash it. I don't have to think. I just real quickly grab it. In the middle there is my trail mix, homemade trail mix. So I have that ready to go. I don't have trail mix like too many times, but it's my go-to when I don't know what to do and I got to get out the door and I don't know what my day is going to look like, because it's got nuts, it's got a little bit of dark chocolate, it's got dried fruit, so seeds in there. So I know it's full of nutrition. I can't have a huge amount because that's going to overstuff me, but it's something to hold me over with a multitude of nutrition. And then on the right, this is what you can do for a recipe that you want to make frequently. In other words, the seasoning, just measure out the seasoning. Why get the recipe out every time? Just measure out the seasonings and put them in a little container. You can have a label on there or just know what it is. But here, this is actually a cacao recipe that I have the measuring cups and spoons in there. And when I first had it, I had the recipe on the outside of that baggie and I clipped it to the bag there. I wanted to make it very easy for me to drink that rather than the Nestle quick. Okay. So this is cacao. It's a form of cocoa, but it uses a higher polyphenol content of cocoa. So for the winter time, but you know how cocoa dirties things and makes it a mess. And then, well, this way I just keep them there. It's no big deal. Okay. So I do that for my chai tea. I drink chai tea several times a week. I use it in the cancer class, but I have the 1 teaspoon measuring right there on the container. So I don't have to worry about, it's right there. So, and for a while I had 1.5 teaspoon of the powder, 2 teaspoons of the maple syrup was my recipe for that. But now I know it, so I don't need to put that on there. But what can you do to make it easy? What can you make multiple times as seasoning so you don't have to actually get the recipe out or put the recipe? The recipe doesn't have to go in a recipe box, guys. The recipe can go with ingredients. I don't know how you think and how you function or organize. Some people are going to want it in the recipe box. This is really going to bother them if they open up the cupboard and they see the recipe card there. Okay, I get that. I have some kids that organization and minimalism is their thing. But I want you to think about how to make it quicker, how when you are spent mentally, how you can just still fall into putting it together. Down there on the right, it drives me crazy searching for measuring cups. So I have a big container on the counter with all kinds of them. Okay. So, whatever drives you crazy, just admit it and figure out a solution. Okay. So, it's also, I highly recommend, this is one thing that I emphasized in the chapter that I wrote, is those utensils you're using almost once a day, they need to go easy to grab. Okay, they don't need to be in this full drawer that you have to dig through. So there's all kinds of pretty homemade ways you can put things back by the backsplash. Flower pots, beer steins, make something with your grandkid, but just stick all those things that you're grabbing for at least almost every day. Okay, so that's a couple times a week. They need to be easy to grab there. Okay, this was a pretty container years and years ago from Southern Living Company that used to have that pretty stuff. So, but there's all kinds of ways you can make your own that are fun. Okay, here, storage. So storing things so they last longer is important. So we've got our lettuce there. I call this a lettuce on tap there on the upper left. And if you've ever been in a co-op, Okay, you in a co-op, you get a box full of mystery stuff. Okay, and a lot of times the lettuces is like, wow, I've never seen this lettuce before. Oh my goodness, what in the world is it? It's delicate, it's purplish, it's so you want, if you have delicate lettuce, you want to separate it out like this. And the moisture is what kills delicate lettuce, like spinach, and we're going to see that in a minute. The more robust you can roll up, like you in the towel there, you could roll it up. We want to keep the moisture whisking off of it. You could do that also with the kale. You could wrap that in the towel and put a rubber band around it, put in the refrigerator. So the apples there, apples actually, I do recommend you keep in the drawer. And here's the reason. Apples are one of your big offenders for ethylene gas. Nothing toxic, anything. It just ripens quicker, everything. So if you put your apples next to the zucchini or the cucumber, they're going to go pretty quick. Okay. So if you can put them back in the drawer, that helps. I will also usually put a freezer bag of lemons and then a freezer bag of limes in that drawer too. They have the skin, which helps protect them from the ethylene gas, but it still will get through. So if you put them, and I have, sometimes you'll see I'll have an empty baggie in my drawer because I've used all the lemons. I just keep reusing that same bag for my lemons and then one for lime. Okay. Moving on to the freezer. So freezer, we've got a lot of great things we can do with the freezer. Freezer extends the life of things. Clarence Frank Birdseye III, he's the one that created the flash freezing concept, where they practically back the truck up to the field and they do a really quick heat to destroy the microbes that are going to break down that vegetable or fruit. That's why they have to do that. So it stores longer, but it's a really short temperature. It is going to change, you know, when you freeze something, when you have something frozen from the store, the texture is different. It's just a little bit, it's a little softer. You can't serve it the same way, but it still is great for things like smoothies, soups, sauces, things like that. So there's a lot of different things you want to freeze, like we've been doing on a cutting board or a baking sheet on parchment. Freeze any leftovers. Spinach you can freeze and use it for smoothies when it's about to go. You know, strawberries, blueberries, things like that. You can freeze those flat. And then the next day when you open the freezer, you say, oh, there they are. And they take them out and you just break them up and put them in a baggie or a container. And that way you've got those ready to go. So there's a lot of things there. So the freezer is a great way to have things on hand. Then the pantry, my biggest thing here is organize how you think. You know, there's all kinds of people that say you should have put these together and those and that. Okay, that's great for probably the person that created it. But we all think differently. Do you think seasonings, spicy? Do you think Mexican, the different cuisines, Mexican, Italian? Do you think wet, dry? Do you think flavor boosters or unusual things? Or, you know, however you think. I have 2 different seasoning cupboards because I have so many seasonings and I can't store them all in the same place. So I take out, and the ones that I use all the time, they're in another little. So I know my kind of all the time ones are there, and then my more unusual ones are over here. So, you know, how do you think? So that's really how you want to organize. Now you have in your binder a really nice handout with a lot of ideas for things to start storing. So what that is again, you've got to get these ingredients in your cupboards so that you can start making dishes regularly, and you can kind of push out the makings of things that maybe we want to do less of. Okay, so just start looking at your cupboards and going, okay, I need to probably use that up and say goodbye to that for a while, and I need to start stocking some other things in there. So you'll get ideas from the class, but one kind of action step you might want to think about is sitting down for 10 minutes with that handout and going through and circling things you want to start adding in. You know, not everything, okay, baby steps, but start, oh, that would be good. That would be good to have on hand. Okay, last area, countertop. This one here is wrong. It's pretty, but it's wrong. Okay, you don't put apples and bananas in there unless you want everything to ripen, okay? So, you know, those nice tiered produce stands that have the hooks at the top. The hooks at the top are to get the bananas away from everything. They're not just to hang bananas. Okay, you need to keep bananas away from, they do ethylene gas too. That's why a lot of times if you want to ripen your avocados, you put it in a brown paper bag with a banana, because the banana is going to give off the gas. So I would not. So what I have is I have a 2-tiered holder, back away, so it's not using my working space and on my kitchen counter. And then I have spread out the bananas are definitely off away. And then I usually have the tomatoes. Those are on their own because I don't like the tomatoes to ripen. Tomatoes, one thing about tomatoes, guys, tomatoes go on the counter, okay? They go on the counter and do not come in my house and put them in the refrigerator. I've had so many people do that, thinking they're doing a nice thing. Okay, what happens is the sweetness of the tomato turns to starchy, in other words, bland. It changes structure when it gets cold. Now you're going to tell me, but Teresa, I know they put them cold in the grocery store. Yeah, and I've had some really serious, stern conversations with produce managers, and it does no good because they ship everything together. Okay, and they're really not concerned about shipping them the way, they're supposed to be. So tomatoes, you'll feel them, you'll be like, they just must have been in the refrigerator back in the back. Yes, they probably were. But that's just the way they do it at grocery store. So you really should, from the garden, it should go to the counter. It should not go in the refrigerator until you cut it open. Once you cut it open, then you do need to, because you will grow things. So you probably want just only on the counter are fresh whole fruits and veggies. Avocados I have there, but I also put in the refrigerator avocados. I get that from Aldi's, that small avocado bag of 5, and then I'll put 3 in the refrigerator because it slows down, almost halts their ripening. And then I put 2 out so that I can watch them ripen. I have mangoes. They take forever to ripen, but they are so good once they're ripe. And the kiwis too. I don't know why from Aldi's. It is nice. From Aldi's, my kiwis seem to ripen all at different times. So I will I'll go through them every day and I'll go, which one's about ready to go? Okay. You go on top. So I know the ones on top of the container are the ones ready to ripen. So I watch those closely. So,
Ask you a question about avocados.
yes.
So when you cut into an avocado, if you don't use all of it, you put it in the fridge. And then you open the next day and it's all brown. And
Yes.
it's so unappetizing looking. Is there a way that you can keep it from browning, and is it still okay to eat, or?
Okay. So it's Ellen, right? Ellen shared that avocados are driving her crazy because, well, she didn't say those words, but because once you cut it, the oxygen turns them to brown. So she puts it in the refrigerator. And yes, that's why a whole avocado is hard if you don't have a family to feed. So now if you know how to stop the browning, you will be a billionaire. Okay. So I am in contact with the Avocado Association, and they don't even know how to. What I usually do, there are the little belts that you can put over them, and what they're trying to do is keep the oxygen out. You can try and do a wrapper. Honestly, the easiest thing is a dish. I have a glass dish. I fill it with water, and I take the half that I want to keep and I put it down, because the water will kind of prevent some oxygen. It's still going to get in there. I put it in the refrigerator. I've got a day. It gets a little soggy, but I have kind of a day. It's okay to eat when it's brown, but it's not as pretty. Now, avocado, yes, question.
There's one other way that works for me pretty good.
What is that?
See, this-
Please.
I always have a container of onions in my, I use a lot of onions.
Oh,
And if you cut a piece out of your avocado, put it in the jar with your onions. It will last 2 to 3.
okay. We're going to try that, Ellen. I have never done that. What is your first name? Yeah. Okay. You said Christy?
Yeah.
Christy. So Christy said do you put a half or just a slices of
No.
avocado?
Because I live by myself, so I only use like a fourth of an avocado at a time.
Yes.
So I just put the whole thing in there
Okay.
because I've washed the outside. So I just set it
Yes.
in there with the onions. I put the cut side toward the onions.
Is it
And
cut
I-
open onions, Ellen? I mean,
Yeah,
Christy?
because I always have onions in the fridge. I'll use a half an onion and put it in a jar. And
Yellow onion, red onion.
anytime.
Okay, so we're gonna try this out.
Comes off of an onion seems to.
Okay.
up the brownie. Then
So
I-
container with onions, cut up onions in the refrigerator. We put the avocado that's cut open in it. So we're gonna try this out. So you up for that? I'm gonna try it out. So if we can get another day, that would be nice. It might have a little kick of onion with it, but that's okay. John?
Another idea for excluding oxygen.
Yes.
Might be to put it in with a little bit of soda pop, with the carbon dioxide will sort of hang there.
Ah,
Replace the oxygen.
well, see, this is why we have a group. Okay. Pop, we're gonna try pop. Okay, I love avocado. So, yeah, so great ideas. A couple other things to throw out there with the avocado. There is frozen avocado cubes, just so you know. I know Walmart carries them, a little shoddy whether they're there, but just that's another way to get avocado. And we have the avocado we use in class just because I want to make sure we have the holy avocados. You can freeze those for 3 months. So what I'll do is I will put on, if I don't use them, I'll put the date and permanent marker that they need to be used by and put them in my freezer. If you don't, if it's coming up to the date and you're like, I don't know what to do, I'm going to use these, make chocolate mousse with them. It's really good. Okay. And chocolate mousse is brown. So once you make it, even if it turns brown, it's fine. So yes.
Another thing about the avocado, you try putting lemon juice on, that makes for apple.
It does. It just makes it soft, but it still turns. It still turns. It does. So we're going to try out, John, your soda pop. We've got onions. Okay. My kids are going to be like, what are you doing, Mom? Okay. I'll report back next week. Okay. So I want to, okay. Last thing is talking about the equipment. It's pretty simple, but it's something that people don't think about. I want you to think about your equipment as to use, essential, useful, and unique. And what that basically is, I use it almost every day. I use it kind of weekly, and then I use it once in a blue moon. Okay, anything in a blue moon should not be in your kitchen. And I know you're like, oh, I don't. Well, my mom is atrocious. So when she moved her house and I helped her, she had all grandmother's stuff in there. It was crazy. I'm like, get this out of here. Get this out of here. It's pretty, but don't have that stuff. Okay. It's about functioning in the kitchen. So in the kitchen should only be, now the essential needs to go right in your work area. And we're going to talk about that in a minute, but your work area, it should be right there. So it needs to be either stored in containers sticking up or the drawer right there. It is not one step away. Okay. That's for the useful. The using it once a week kind of stuff. Okay, you need to have it. A drawer does not need to be stuffed. It's okay if the drawer is like you can actually see things in it. Okay, a lot of us try to stuff things, keep stuffing things, and it drives me crazy when I have to search and search. I'm like, I know it's here. So, okay, so some people will take everything out of their cupboards and put them on a tablecloth on the floor and go through everything. Look for nicks. Look for duplicate. You might find you have 3 pillars. Okay, so a lot of us have just accumulated a lot of things and we didn't realize it. So think about organizing again. Okay, so on your sticky, and those at home, I want you to send through the chat. What is your takeaway for designing a health-centric kitchen? I want you to take a moment while I get ready for food prep, what that is. Okay, and then I've got the action steps, start thinking. I don't know if you want to flip while I'm getting started here with my knife show. But in your binder, you have the action steps, or you should have them in the pocket there. Start thinking about. I did write on some of the action sheets that were turned in last week. There were a couple of you that had 3 to 5 action steps checked off. And I said, question mark, baby steps. So just want to, you know yourself, but I just want to let you know it really works best when you're just integrating a little bit at a time. Okay, so I am going to, while you're finishing up your action steps, I'm going to get started here. I'm going to switch the camera back to, let's see if I can do that.
There we go. We're back. Yay. Okay, and I'm going to switch my camera here.
Two copies of the extension stuff.
Me?
Yeah, oh, what's your name?
Tanya.
My name's
Camera. There we go.
of each of these action steps, like I had a double attack, single, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so,
Two of each.
yes, here's two.
Fill out one for yourself and one for her.
Okay, I want to go over some knife skills, really, really, really important. So I've got some things here, some important things. So here and here, these are the same thing. What are they? Anybody know what this is called? Yes, who said that?
Yeah.
Honing rod. Most people,
Copy that.
oh, okay. Most people go right away and say sharpener. I'm like, well, that's kind of in the gray area. That's a honing rod. What a honing rod does is when you have a knife like this, it looks like it's a block of metal, but it's actually threads of metal. And so when you're chopping, what happens is this to the metal threads over time. So do you think this is sharper or duller? Duller, okay? So the honing rod, what it does is it realigns. So I say the honing rod realigns the threads on the knife. So, which will make it sharper, but it's not shaving off. A lot of people think it's shaving off parts of metal. So normally I have a towel down here, but we don't have towels in this kitchen so that you don't slip off like this. So we need to, this is a Suntuco. Most people have more like this. It's like a chef's knife. So that's fine. It's a little heavier, a little longer blade. This is a Japanese Suntuco. I love this. It's actually made in San Francisco, MAC. It runs about $70 to $80. It'll last me probably for 10 to 15 years. So it's just lighter. I can grip it and work with it quicker. Right around 18 degrees is where you want to be. Don't worry about remembering that. I'll show you what you need to do. All you need to do is go, okay, we're going 90, then we're going, so it's basically half of, we're going half, get the butt of the knife, then we're going half again. So, and then half again is going to get me close enough to 18 to 22. So I take the butt of the knife and just pull it straight back, pull it, pull it, pull it. And once you're doing this regularly, you want to do it 6 to 8 times. Now, if you have never honed, you want to do it a couple minutes, but you want to cut something like a carrot or a tomato and kind of feel the pressure before you hone it, just to see if the honing's doing anything, because it might be time to actually shave off some metal because it might be really dull. So, so that's how you do, you can, you see some people do it on shows like this and they're all over the place, but they're doing the same thing as this. Okay, so this will work too. Both of them hone the same way. This one's just a little smaller. They both look like they're rusty. They're fine. You can just know because when I hone it, my knife gets sharper. It's actually got grooves there. You can't even feel it with your finger. Our fingers can't feel it, but it's got grooves there that it will realign this. Now, if after you cut and you're like, it's still not really sharp, then it's time for the sharpeners. Okay, these are manual. I don't like electric. They're just bulky and expensive, and these things do fine. So this is a Rollo. It's what's recommended to go with this one. This one you can go back and forth. So I go like, I'm just going to do a little bit of sharpening, like 3 times there. Well, I should do about 6 times if I do a full sharpening with that. This is for your chef's knife. This is, you just pull towards you. Now your instructions for your knife should tell you things like this, what to use, which one to use for a sharpener. This has a fine and a coarse side. I would start with the coarse if you've never sharpened your knife and then go to the fine. So this is shaving off just a little bit of the metal there. So, but this one you just pull towards you. This one you go back and forth, and you need to just keep your pressure even. You don't want to like press and pull through. It's just even, good pressure both ways. So that's actually sharpening it. So,
Question,
yeah,
serrated knives.
you can't, yeah, you have to send those to a professional. Most good serrated knives are gonna like last you a lifetime pretty good, you know, like your Cutcos and stuff like that, so they should. I'm trying to think, paring knife, you can do like this. Most of your other like knives, unless they're serrated, you're gonna have, you can do the sharpening. 90% of your chopping when you're plant-focused eating is gonna be with this knife, okay? 90% is gonna be with this chef's knife. Now, as far as the workspace goes, you have your chopping. Ooh, do we have our takeaways? So, okay, so our takeaways are, we are on our own journey. Apples like to be alone, make food ahead, keep most used food or equipment handy. Love that. Put good, healthy food where your eye goes in the fridge. Yes, you will find that simple is going to make a huge difference. Keep utensils you use in a container or on the counter. Keep bananas away from the other fruits. Put fruits and veggies at eye level versus in drawers. Yes, yes, get them out of those drawers. Put in what you want to eat first and is the most accessible spot in the fridge. Have healthy food easily available to eat. Keep moisture out of lettuce. Yes. Let's see, triage tools, eliminate duplications, organize refrigerator. Yes, awesome. That's a great, I like that word, triage. Keeping apples and bananas away from other fruits. Yes, yes, you will find that. I've had some people go, that's why my tomatoes ripen so quickly. Yes, when you got them next to the bananas. What can you do to make something easily? Things easy. Yeah, there we go. Organization. Fruit, vegetables, top shelf and fridge. Yes, you can do top, wherever your eye goes. So reorganizing refrigerator, purchase, recycle baggies. Yes, I kind of over time, these are things that we just baby steps for me too. I'm getting more and more of them, and so yeah, organize counters with what you use most often. Use eye level shelves and fridge for quick to grab veggies and healthy food. Awesome. Let's see, I think throw out any junk food and anything that may affect health negatively and replace those with healthy alternatives. Yes, don't be afraid to throw out junk food, really. So I've done it many times, feel no guilt. So yeah.
So here's a question.
Yeah.
So I talked about this in a class before, and I
Yeah.
can't believe I didn't ask this. So I can't leave tomatoes out on my counter. My animals don't typically get on my counters, but for whatever reason, my cat likes to make salsa. So is a Tupperware container on the counter?
That should
Is that
work.
when you
I
go-
would, yeah, I would not put it in the refrigerator because unless you like bland tomatoes. So
Well, it's either that or salsa.
yeah, yeah. Yes, try it. Yeah, that should work. That should work. Yeah.
Maybe it'll keep them out there.
Yeah.
Or I'll have an open container with salsa.
Yes, yes. Aw. Okay, so our workspace. So for working efficiently, there is a word called mise en place. It's French. I didn't speak it French very well, but it means everything has its place. It's taught in culinary school. And basically the concept is get everything ready and then you go, you flow. So you want to get out your ingredients. Ideally, you get out your ingredients. A lot of times my spices I'll put out here, your bulk ingredients over here that you're going to chop, because when you're doing plant-based, there's a lot of chopping, a lot of tossing. Here's a discard bowl. I have a discard bowl almost all the time when I'm doing my prep on Sunday, because there's just so much of the cabbage and the cauliflower and the broccoli that's going in there and the red peppers, you know, all the seeds and everything. So, and then I'll go over once it gets full into the garbage, because most of us don't have a garbage right here. And even if I had a garbage right there, I don't know if I would, but most of us don't, right? You need to be working efficiently here. So you have your raw, you bring it here, you chop, take off, put it there. Even if you want to get a little more efficient, you can have a dish towel, so that you take the dish towel, because after broccoli, you'll see you get all the little broccoli sprouts there. So you can just wipe it off and then go. So you then put your finished product on the right-hand side. The chefs, what they do is they go left to right. When it goes off to the right, that's where it goes to the next station or goes out to the customer. So if you're making double or triple of a recipe, I usually will put like my teaspoon, half teaspoon, tablespoon here, and put the ingredients that are measured with that behind it. That way I can go, 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 go. And it kind of saves you from like looking at a recipe like back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. So get out, put the measuring there, and then that way it goes much quicker. So those are just some tips for working efficiently. Last thing is, those here probably noticed I have balloons here. And the reason I have the balloons is to kind of illustrate what happens when we don't have a sharp knife. So if we don't have a sharp knife, we go slower, we cut less even. So things are going to cook a little longer, and we're smashing the cell of the plant. We really are. We're squishing it. So think about it. If I take this knife and pop this balloon, 1, 2, 3, boom. So it shreds it. It shreds it. And that's the same as what you're doing with a dull knife. And with a sharp knife, it's a real clean cut. We're not smashing. And there is some loss of vitamins A, D, E, K because they squish and they go out to the cutting board. And I can tell when somebody's not been using a sharp knife in this kitchen because I'll see stains on the cutting board because the oils, the ADEK will go onto here and I'll see the colors there. So, but the main thing is you're squishing it and you are losing a little bit of nutrition, but it's not going to cook the same. It's going to actually turn sooner if it's a fresh vegetable that you're putting in the refrigerator because you've opened up more exposure. So, another reason to just really take care of your knife. It's like when you cut with a sharp knife through a tomato, it's like the weight of the knife is taking it through the tomato. It is a whole different experience than it's just once you break that seal, it just slides like butter right through it. It's really fun. Okay, so time to get going. We're going to start with
Do you have any advice on cutting boards?
Uh,
Are wooden cutting boards safe to use?
They're safe to use. You do need to be careful. They're porous, so they need to be cleaned really well for meat kind of products. A lot of people they're pretty. I have some at home. I use mostly the plastic and a thicker plastic. I don't like those flimsy ones because they are flat.
Doesn't dull the knife more than.
Not so much. Not so much. Yeah. I like the thicker so it's flat. Some of those thinner ones will start to bow. So, and then you've got a little bit of a problem. You can sometimes solve it by putting a washcloth that's damp underneath so it doesn't slide. So, but also it just drives me crazy. So good question. Good question. Okay. Yes.
She said that she will now move her tools into 2 different drawers, knives, and baking separate.
Awesome, Rose. You're going to move those. Awesome tools. Awesome. Thank you for sharing. Okay, we are going to get started with the quinoa berry salad. So here I'm going to get some quinoa started real quick. I'm just going to take my water here. I've got 2/3 a cup of water there. And it's a ratio of 1 to 2 for quinoa. Quinoa is a seed technically, but we put it in the grain category. How are we doing, Tom? We're getting close. So here's quinoa. It's a really nice whole grain. It's one of your highest in fiber, highest in protein, highest in all the essential amino acids when you go plant. It's really great. So it actually was, it's from the Aztecan cultural originally, and they used to feed it to their warriors because they saved it. And because food was kind of scarce, you didn't have plentiful, and they would feed it to their warriors because their warriors they found would be really strong when they eat the quinoa. Because the quinoa is back then pretty close to a complete food. Nowadays we got a lot more options, but it's just such a strong food. Now it's very bland, and you do want to rinse it. It has saponin, nothing dangerous on the outside, but some people pick up a soapiness when they catch that. I always rinse it, even if it says it's rinsed. It's just a habit I do. So, and I just want to make sure. So I rinsed it. Here I have a 1/3 cup. So I'm just going to add that there. And yeah, that's good. We're going to quinoa is so easy. We're just going to, we're just going to boil that for like 10 minutes and it'll be done. So from whole grain, that's not parboiled. So it's one of the fastest whole grains to get ready. It stores really easily. It freezes well. You know, a lot of people are like, Teresa, I'm just cooking for one person. Well, this is great make a batch, freeze it individual, and put it in the freezer. It will keep for weeks. Even the refrigerator is going to keep all week fine. A lot of times I'll make just a small pot of this because the kids love their white rice. So I have a rice cooker. They make their white rice. I make this, put in the refrigerator, and whatever we have throughout the week, I'm just adding quinoa, whereas they're adding their white rice. Okay, so we're making a salad here. We've got the quinoa. So let's see, we're going to make, while that's cooking there, okay, gets ready here, but I want to make the sauce, the secret sauce, the reduced balsamic. So the reduced balsamic, I've got, oops, yes, we gotta take that down. There we go. Okay, so reduced balsamic, here we go. So reduced balsamic is taking balsamic vinegar, the strong, you know, it's really strong. Like if you smell this, you're gonna cough practically. So, but we're gonna boil it down, reduce it down so that we get most of the vinegar off, and we're left with some complex compounds in it. So what happens here with balsamic vinegar in Italy, it's a special grape that they pick, and then in big vats they boil, and they reduce it to half or less, and they call it a grape must, M-U-S-T. And that grape must then is transferred, it's in like a metal vat, and it's transferred to an oak, kind of wooden barrel, and it sits and develops flavors from the oak and from just reducing over time. And then a year later, they take 10% of an older reduced balsamic and add it and put it to another barrel. And again, keep doing that because they get more flavors and more complexity. It sounds like we're doing wine almost, but we aren't. But it's reduced. This is how they make the expensive Italian reduced balsamic. Okay, so that's the $50 to $200 bottle of reduced balsamic. Okay, so if somebody brings you something back from Italy, you're like, well, what is this for? It's probably reduced balsamic, and it's really good. And don't ever cook with it because you're going to ruin all that complex flavoring from it. So what we're doing is we're making a mock duplication of that. Okay, not quite as complex, but it's along that same line. So this has grape must from that vat that I talked about, plus wine vinegar, okay? And so if you look at the ingredient list, the first ingredient's wine vinegar, because that's cheap, and then concentrated grape must. So that's that reduced special grape stuff. That's the second ingredient. Then sometimes they have caramel food coloring because actually the grape is not brown like this looks, okay? So it's just our idea of it. So they add caramel food coloring. So we're going to reduce this. So we're going to get out that pungent smell. So I'm just going to do this. I have like half a cup here. We just need a little bit because it's got a good zing, even when it's reduced, okay? Not near as much as if I just like added it as is. But we're adding it to spinach and quinoa and blueberries and strawberries and walnuts. So we just need a little bit of it, okay? Okay. So, okay. So I will switch over that as soon as I get this going. So I'm going to get this going. So we're going to start. I'm going to take this off. It is going to get pungent in here because we're evaporating off the vinegar. So you're welcome to walk outside for a second if it gets to you. Never stick your face over it while it's reducing. Okay, I reduced this 17-ounce bottle to this. This is how much we reduced it to. All that goes down to this. Okay, so you can see kind of how thick. I could even gone a little thicker, but I wanted to make sure it's easy for you guys to get out. If I reduced it a little more, it'd be a little less of the zing. You'll taste the zing still. The zing is good, but you want a little more, you want the balance of the sweetness with the zing. So, and I have a squeeze bottle of this next to my stove. And I like the squeeze bottle because you've got this funnel that you can, or top that you can squeeze and make decorations on. It's fun to play with, and you can just add a little to anything. So we're boiling that. We're just going to reduce it down real quickly. This is just a little bit. It's not this whole thing. So the broccoli, I'm going to get started on that while we're making our reduced balsamic. So the roasted broccoli here. So broccoli, I've got it here. You keep in the refrigerator naked with dampness. So it likes moisture, it likes cold. So this broccoli, when it's not chopped up, can go in the back of the refrigerator where it gets the coldest. These were damp paper towels. You can just spray them with a water sprayer if you want to, or dampen them. These already dried out from he being in the room. So we're gonna chop that up. So when I make roasted, I'm gonna use more of the stem than I usually use when I make it a pretty salad with all kinds of vegetables. So I'm just gonna chop off like that. And you see, I've got more of the stem here. I like that because it's good for us. And I'll tell you, when you have this roasted broccoli, it's delicious. So why not leave it on? So the trick, there's a couple tricks to roasting veggies perfecto. So that is having the same height on the pan. Makes sense because the heat then is going to be more even. Because the trick with broccoli is to get it all dark brown on the top parts, not just one or two pieces on the pan, but every piece on the pan. And that's what we're going to do today. Okay, so what I do is I take this and I just go 1/2 inch wide, like this, and that. So now I've got this funky looking piece. If I want to, I can cut it in half, but I will use this when I make it at home. It's not as pretty again, but when we're talking about taking it off the pan and eating it, just plopping it in our mouth, it's fine. So it is going to shrink some too, remember that. So about 7 cups is what I do for 1 tablespoon of extra virgin olive oil. I just toss it, kind of massage it, toss it 1 tablespoon. And then I put it on, I spread it out 1/2 inch. Now I don't get out my ruler, but you can't crowd this in. You can't like crowd that in because part of the trick is getting room, because otherwise you're going to have to steam it before you get to roasting it. Okay, we got to get the water content out of there to get to the caramelization. So we need to spread it out so that we can get the heat circulating there. So you can see, then I just take a little sprinkle of salt. I already did that. So, and then we're going to put it in there. You can try other seasonings, but hands down, if I'm going to serve this to people, salt is going to be the most liked. Okay, so we're going to put this in here and the other one too. There we go. And we're going to put it in for 20 minutes. It's anywhere from 15 to 25. 20 is kind of my magic number here. Top rack. So you want to make a note if you put it at the top, middle, bottom on your recipe, because it makes a difference. Okay, so just those little things. Each oven is a little different. Okay, so we're getting close. Now look at here. So we're pretty much there. Can you see how I'm parting the Red Sea here on the screen? And it looks like Hershey's syrup, right? Even a little thicker. It's boiling up. It stays a little bit, okay? So it's going to thicken actually in this pan here. It always thickens a little bit. So the trick is to stop before it's perfect, okay? Because it's going to reduce a little bit when you take it off. It always does when it cools down. So if you get it the two things that can happen, you get it too thick because you've reduced it so much. It's like thick fudge. You just can't. I mean, like it's going to be like, oh my goodness, it doesn't. You can just get it out of the pan with hot water, but it's going to be so thick. The other thing is you burn it. Okay, that's why you want to use your biggest, thickest saucepan. You know, not your Goodwill thin metal pan because you're going to burn it. Okay, use your 20-year-old Calphalon stock pot or something like that. So because you need even heat there. Usually what I do to make sure I don't burn it is I did the popsicle sticks here yesterday when I did the full one. This is the color of when I started, okay? Then I reduced it to half, best I could see visually, to half, and I turned the heat down. And then you need to stick in the kitchen, okay? You can't go multitask, take a phone call. You got to kind of be patient and watch it there. There's a container from Walmart that's double this size that a lot of times I'll do. It takes about 40 minutes for me to do it, okay? I have to be patient. So, but you can see here, that looks like Hershey syrup. That's when it's all the way done. That's what we have here, okay? So it started out this color. and now it's this because I reduced it so much. So I use popsicle sticks at home to help me gauge how dark I am. I know I need to get to this. Okay. The other thing is I do the Parting the Red Sea, and it holds a little bit. You can see it's not quite like water. Okay. So those are ways that you can do it. You taste it today to see. It's wonderful with strawberries and blueberries. I mean, not that these are wonderful alone, but it adds a little pizzazz. It's wonderful with asparagus, with mushrooms. Sometimes I'll drizzle a little bit over a pizza that I've homemade with lots of veggies on top. It's just, you know, you just start to like use your imagination. When it's sitting next to the stove, you're like, oh, I've got the reduced balsamic. I could use that forever because it's vinegar. I've looked it up. Okay. Okay. Because I've had that same question. Do I need to keep it in the refrigerator? How long does it last? I've looked it up. It's vinegar. And that's why the problem here is if I cross-contaminate it. That's why I have bought off of Amazon. They're not expensive, but they're a little more than the 99-cent Walmart squeeze bottles, because the squeeze bottles at Walmart, I have learned if you get anything stuck in the lid, guess what happens? The lid comes off, the whole lid on you. So these are ones that have actually a little top that you screw on, the top and the top. Off at Amazon, I get like 6 or 7 together. But I have them, and I do my hoisin like sauce in there. I do different sauces. Sometimes I have to snip the top to let pieces through, but I will use that because that's not going to cross-contaminate. Because when you have a squeeze bottle, unless you're like dipping it into the chicken, you're okay. So if you do it up here and do this, you're not cross-contaminating. When we have a jar like this and we're putting a spoon in, we're at risk of doing some cross-contamination. So I wouldn't do it this way, but for tonight, we're doing it this way. We're fine. So, but you can see this just makes a little bit here. You can see already how thick that is. So we just need a little bit to add zing to this salad. So we're going to take this off here. That's our quinoa. I want to show you the quinoa. So there we go. You can see how that is. They're just tiny little seeds that kind of pop. And you can just fluff it up if you want to a little bit. But this will keep easily for a week, guys, in the refrigerator. So it doesn't have flavor. I have some I already made. If you guys here want to taste this without any, because we're going to put it in the salad, you're welcome to, because I make this to show you how to make it, but we aren't going to use this. So let me grab it. Ingredients here. So we grab the Parmesan there. Both the block and the cut. So we're going to throw this together. So, okay, we're going to put in I'm making double triple. You don't have to be super exact on this. We're just doing a big salad for all of us here. So, okay, we're going to add in there blueberries and strawberries. You can use frozen blueberries. I have used that before. About a half an hour, get them out before you want them to serve. They'll be thawed. Longer than that, they might be leaking color. You can also do all just strawberries, all just blueberries. You know, this is a perfect 4th of July salad, though, as you can tell, but it's really nice with both blueberries and strawberries. So then we're going to add spinach, about 3 cups I chopped up there. Spinach, when you get spinach home, always right away. This is one of those things when you're unloading groceries, just start automatically doing. Add a paper towel. I don't care if you're not using it for a day or 2. Add a paper towel. It's a delicate lettuce, and it's the moisture that's going to make it go bad. I don't care what the date says on the outside. It's the moisture. So I put a paper towel out on the outside. It's already a little bit, I can tell, got a little bit there. Even the bag, because I've started doing the cheaper one at Aldi's, the bag one. I love the box, but the cheaper one's at the bag. I will open it up, put a paper towel on both sides, and then clip it back and put it in. I might not use it for 2 days, but I know I'm keeping it good. It's going to stay for a week to week and a half most of the time. So it'll go past the date. Walnuts. Walnuts, again, you can see I love walnuts. I love walnuts because they're super heart healthy. Not many people sit down and just start munching on walnuts, okay? They're just one of those things that, no offense to walnuts, but it's just not one of the things that people down a lot of, but it's delicious in things. So we're going to add that. And then you're probably in for a shock here. I'm going to add some Parmesan cheese. So why do I do that? Because it's wonderful, okay? It adds to it. And I want you to be confident. Now, this is an expensive way to go, but if you have guests, this is really nice, okay? So I'm going to take the block of real Parmesan cheese, okay? Take a peeler. All you have to do, guys, is do this. And then you cut it up. And I make the dye for arugula salad with lemon and extra virgin olive oil and some big, I love to do the big curls of this across it. Ooh, so good. So we're just going to chop that up a little bit. There we go. Okay, so we're just going to add that on there. Isn't that nice? Just Parmesan is that hard flavor that just melds well with this, especially with the balsamic in there top. So, okay, so I'm going to finish off with the balsamic. And I'm going to let everybody else add it, but I just want to show you what I would probably do. This is all about having fun, delicious food.
Now it really looks like chocolate safe.
Yes. There we go. See how pretty that is? So a lot of times I'll just put this on the table and let people decorate their plates and add however much they want. So yes, there we go. So you see if you like that sauce. I love the sauce. Guys, no saturated fat, sodium. I'm pretty sure it's 0, but let me double check. Yep, 0. So it has zing. It really has zing. So you don't need a lot. So, okay. Thank you. Okay, I wanted to show you about broccoli real quick because broccoli is one of our stars tonight. So I love this thing. There's very few gadgets I recommend you get. Like, I'm not a gadget person. I don't have a huge kitchen. I don't like doing the dishes. So, you know, I mean, I'm okay doing dishes, but it makes extra dishes. So this, though, is so cool. I don't know, Pampered Chef, if they have a trademark on this or what patent on this, because I have trouble finding any other container that's microwavable with the vents on top. Okay, because here's the cool thing. I just add my veggie, no water, guys. And I'm going to put it in for a minute and a half.
Sprinkle water.
Nothing. Nope. And you're going to see it's perfect. So, and there's a recipe that's to die for in your bonus recipes. It's called Bippy Map, Veggie Bippy Map. And it's one of my kids' favorite. And you basically pick, you look in your refrigerator and go, I need 5 veggies to use for Bippy Map. Whatever veggies you have. Usually I have spinach. I don't actually steam spinach when because the rice in the dish will steam it. But I'll usually use broccoli. I'll do things like onions, mushrooms, all in here individually, because they all take a little different. They have different water content. But a carrot, I can do carrots in there, all those, no water, you add no water. So it just, there's different times, like cauliflower is usually more like 3 minutes. This is a minute and a half. Carrots are like 2 minutes. So you kind of figure out what they are, but this is just, it's great for steaming the veggies. Now the flavor, it doesn't add any flavor. It's not like sauteing, but it's great for steaming because I'm going to be adding with the Bippy Map, kind of an Asian sauce on top. You put a rice, brown rice, 4 to 5 veggies, little piles, so it's pretty. It has to be pretty. Then a mock fried egg on top, and then the Bippy Map sauce. It's delicious. So, but this is the key, and I can make that dish Bippy Map in less than 15 minutes for the whole family. Okay, we're going to do zoodle. Okay, so zoodles are actually, okay, we're getting close. We're going to do this because we want to. Let's do the super quick one. So we are going to make the crunchy peanut bowl. This one, all we need to do here, actually, we're all ready to go. So actually, I just do these at room temperature. They're going to be fine because this is, if you can grab, yes, let's show this. Here's the broccoli, guys. Look how pretty green that is.
I know a Pampered Chef lady, so if you need a link, I can get it.
Yeah, it's just this crazy thing. I have spent a lot of time on Amazon looking for another container. I can't find. So a lot of times when I'm in a hurry, when the kids were younger, when we had the activities, you're pulled all different ways and nobody eats together, you know, those times. I would make this, keep the lid on because it'll keep it warm for a while and put a squirt of Parquet. Now, Parquet is margarine, guys. So that's not my first go-to. But when you're in a hurry, you just set it down there and just 1-2 pumps is fine to do, so the kids would dish out their broccoli. And then if they wanted to, they could do a pump or two. Some of my kids don't like anything on their broccoli. They love it just as is, but these are just ways of, that was 1.5 minutes, guys. Oh my goodness, there's no excuse for not having a veggie on the side. So, I mean, it's delicious. The broccoli is delicious.
And mine is a bigger one, so it's
Yeah.
not family size. But I'll pack it, bring it, and just put my broccoli in for lunch.
This is another one. And actually, Linda found this at a garage sale, one of the other dietitians at a garage sale. I'm like,
That 25 years ago, but the curious thing is, I always put water in it, and I thought that was from the pampered chef directions, but
I have never.
I think the lady that I had told us just to line the bottom, but
that's
because there's, so much moisture in most of the veggies and stuff anyway.
Yeah, probably because
Yeah.
veggies. I mean,
You never cook more than one kind at a time in your?
No.
No.
No, because they're going to have different moisture content. So yeah, like mushrooms take 2 to 3 minutes because they have a lot of moisture, but they come out totally done. Totally done. It's a quick way to do more. Again, it's not the same as sauteing because when you saute mushrooms, you get a little flavor of the browning. But if you just need it steamed really quick, it's great. So, okay, broccoli slaw. Broccoli slaw, every store has their version of this, so it's available everywhere. It's veggie and veggie. So we're going to add that, plus we're going to add edamame. Edamame, does anybody know what edamame is? Soybean, immature soybean. So it's nice because it's pretty bland as a bean goes. It's green, so it kind of blends in. A lot of people don't even notice it in stir fries and in salads. So it really just is kind of an add-in secretly that people don't know about. And it adds protein and fiber. It's very high in those. So we're just going to mix that in. And then to add some more protein and good plant, we are going to sprinkle on some dry roasted unsalted peanuts. All the stores have the unsalted peanuts, okay? So they're great to add when you're adding in cooking. So we're just going to add on that. And then some pizzazz there. We're going to add a little bit of cilantro. We can put out the avocado. So that can go on there too. So these are just some nice, whatever you have, you can add on there. Now the cilantro, I told you I would tell you about the cilantro. So cilantro, I store in this container. You can use, even if you don't have one of those, you can use a vase. Then you put a baggie over the top and try to seal it as close as you can get. I do asparagus in this with baggies because asparagus gets tall, and this is a great way to keep it. Just a little bit of water at the bottom. So usually I'll rinse the cilantro. So that I can just grab out what I want and just use it immediately. I don't have to like rinse it and then use it. So I get to use it right away. I'll chop off enough so that I can get this in here. You can squish it a little bit, but sometimes, your cilantro is like this long. When you're cutting cilantro, okay, I don't know about you, but I don't have the patience like my oldest daughter to pick off each flower, okay? The stem is a little more stronger flavor. But that's okay. Cilantro is a little stronger fiber anyways, but some people like to pick off the flowers. Okay, not going to happen for me. But if you want the flowers to fall off a little more, so brush it. Take your chef's knife and just brush. It will help get off more so. It's not perfect, but it's fun and it does a little better job. So I will have cilantro will keep. You just need to change it out about once every 2 days, 2 to 3 days. The water, just dump out, add some more, and it should keep like 20 days. If it was decent to begin with, it was sad to begin with. I don't know about that, but most of the time I'm okay with whatever I get at the grocery store. It'll stay for 20 days if I remember to turn out the water. So if it isn't, it'll smell like that's ready, that's gone. So okay. I do want to, if you can grab the, we're going to make the zoodles, but I also want to introduce you to the shell in the freezer, the edamame in the shell, because the edamame we used in the crunchy peanut roll was shell, which is the bottom on the left. All right. Yes. should be there. Oh, the two, yeah, that's right. So yes, those, sorry. Yes, go ahead, grab the other one. I brought these from home because I was too lazy to go to Walmart again, because Hy-Vee doesn't carry without salt. For some reason, they're carry edamame without salt. So, but the edamame shelled was without salt. So make sure without salt. But you can get these usually at Costco, Sam's too, but these are like individual serving of edamame in the shell. These are great snack. I want to get going on other things, but
We got about 5 minutes left on the broccoli.
okay. When I went to Hawaii many years ago, and I was spoiled, I went probably 6 times. My in-laws were missionary ministers there, so that's why. But still, I was spoiled going to Hawaii. Roy's was a restaurant we would go to, and Roy's was fabulous. It had a real chef, but when you were waiting in your kind of beach clothing for your fancy meal to come out, they would serve you edamame in the shell instead of like bread or chips. And they had their special seasoning. Now you can find it online. Back then it was a big thing, like, what's their seasoning? So, but for me, what my point is, edamame has great memories with. Like, it's a fancy food for me. You might look at the edamame in the shell and go, ooh, I don't know. I'm telling you though, for me, it's like this super great food. My kids love it. My daughter, when she snacks on it quite frequently. So, you may or may not find you have the taste for it. So, I'm sorry, I haven't done that, but. Well, let me show you zoodles real quick. So zoodles are a lot of fun. We're going to make them really easy. So I'm going to show you how to use a spiralizer, just a basic spiralizer. Again, I don't do many tools. This one's a real basic one. I used to actually have a fancy, expensive one, and I gave it in a garage sale because I just never put it together. It was too much to figure out every time. So you want to, whoops, okay, we'll do that. You need a smaller zucchini. You can't get the big fat homegrown ones because they're not going to fit in a spiralizer. So we're just going to, perfect timing. We're just going to cut off the top, bottom, and we find the thicker side because the thicker side is going to have more skin, which is going to help it when it's cooking there, because your biggest problem with zoodles is sogginess. And I have only once out of about 6 times found frozen zoodles work. Okay, so X the idea of using frozen zoodles. Okay, it just does. It's you're lucky if you get them to work. So my hands are wet right now, but you can see this is, you just keep turning. That's all there is to it. You just get this spiral out here. So, and at the end, you can use this so that you don't get your fingers. So you just keep turning that when you get down to the end. So I want to show you, because I've already done actually 3 zucchini here. What I did is, ideally, again, sogginess is your thing that you're trying to work against. So, ooh, awesome. Can we open them up in like a bowl, a clear bowl? Perfect. So I put paper towels in the bottom, put the zoodles in here. I did cut them up a little bit because they can be really long and it's not good for eating. But, if you like the look of the long spiral, it's fine. And then I shook a little salt. Now, why did I shake salt on it? Bring the moisture out. It's actually not going to contribute a lot of salt to the end product, because I sprinkled salt and I put this on here and it absorbed. You can see it's wet there. So I'll just pat it. I don't need to pound it. I just need to pat it a little bit to get some of the moisture out. That should be good. 30 minutes ahead is ideal to do this, to let it sit. Oh, what's that? Oh, okay. Maybe I didn't do it long enough. I didn't even look at the instructions. Okay. So, normally this doesn't, okay. Somehow this is freezer burnt, but it's from my freezer. So normally it doesn't have all this moisture in the bottom. Normally what we do is we add just a little bit of rice vinegar, unseasoned rice vinegar. Don't get seasoned because it has salt. The rice vinegar, like just a teaspoon to 2 teaspoons for this, you're not going to taste the vinegar so much as It's going to bring out the natural saltiness. That's why a lot of Asian food has rice vinegar in it. It's to help bring out salt in the foods. So when you eat this, I'll just show you how you do this. You pull it through your teeth. So whatever seasoning you put on the outside, basically you're licking off. So you just
You know that, Jennifer?
So, you're supposed to shake the bag and put it in for 3.5 minutes.
Okay, so
That's
much.
a long time for this little bag. So to be
Okay.
fair.
I should have read the instructions. Okay, well, you're not gonna be tasting this, but they're actually really good. They're normally a brighter green. I don't know.
Soybeans?
Yes.
It's soybean, so
Good, I'm sorry.
the same, pick sweet, bird's eye. I think Green Giant has some steamable or edamame out of the shell or in the shell that are really good. So sorry you have a bad experience there, but
We all
Yeah.
got a good laugh.
yeah, like eating raw.
Water.
Oh, my water. I forgot.
Oh.
Oh, I forgot my, it's up here. I just forget. Oh,
Here, let me get you some water.
Okay.
Was it the brand that was bad or that you didn't cook it long enough?
Well, I think it was freezer burn in my freezer. I just grabbed them because I was too lazy to go to Walmart because the ones, this brand in the shell,
There you are.
they add salt. Now that's probably because people like the salt on the outside to pull it through their teeth. I like for you to be given the choice of adding the salt or the rice vinegar. So I know at Walmart they have. So and they could have been in my car a little bit before I got here, so who knows? So, my bad. So, right now I'm chewing on raw. Getting my fiber. Okay, so, we are going to, we have, here you can see I have the, tomatoes. This is, again, like I said, I don't have tools, but these are the ones that I have. Like, these are it for tonight that I'm showing you. But this is really nice because you just do this and it slices your tomatoes. So, no, this is on Amazon. It's like $10. It's not that expensive. So, yeah, something like that. Yeah. So you can do cherry, grape, and you can do grapes if you want to, if you wanted to. So again, it's so nice. When I bring salads to church, I do this all the, everybody's like, oh, they're so pretty. It's like, oh, it's so easy. So yes. Okay. So we're going to cook this up so you can see how to do this. So we're going to start with our saute pan. We need a big one because we got the double bed going on here. And I already spilled my olive oil. So I'm going to just put, there we go. It's about 3 teaspoons. So we're going to put that on, the power on. We're going to add our garlic. I'm using jar garlic. Now the thing with garlic, we want to, I want to get the pan hot. So you put your hand about 6 inches over the pan. And when I feel the heat, then it's ready for the garlic, okay? We don't want to put, ideally, the garlic on cold, just because if you put it on cold, it's just going to suck up the oil. And we actually want the heat to cook the garlic nicely. So we're going to wait. There we go. I can feel it. So I'm going to add the garlic. The other thing is the garlic can burn very easily, and burnt garlic is not a nice thing. So onions you can cook forever. They're fine. But garlic really should not be. And it's about 20 to 30 seconds at the most. Once you smell the garlic, it's done. Now in this room, we're so open, you can't use that trick, but at home, you can use that trick. It's pretty much done. So I'm going to add my tomatoes. I need to get it off there. Yeah, let me just turn that down. Okay, let me do a few more tomatoes since we're doing a big batch here. Ta-da, ta-da, ta-da. Ta-da. Here's my slicer. There you go there. I'm just gonna add my zoodles because I'm gonna go quick. With that. Oh,
I was just gonna say when I made the recipe point, I thought that was soybeans, so I didn't buy it. And what I substituted was, peas, frozen peas.
oh, how did it taste?
It tastes pretty good.
There we go.
I also left out the red pepper too, because pepper ones.
Okay, yes. I'm not gonna add the red peppers. I add red pepper because I don't want this to be spicy. I promise you, I have a milder. So, yes. So Kay shared that she, instead of edamame on the last dish, substituted green peas, and it worked out. So, okay, we are going to, ribbon, oh, I'm blanking out right now. No, we're gonna make ribbons out of the basil. What is that? I'm thinking mise en place. All I can think is the mise en place. So, well, okay. So how you do this basil is you put them inside, like you're stacking the dolls, the Russian dolls, outside the biggest one, then smaller. Go ahead and stir it. Yep. And then we're gonna roll it up like we're rolling a cigar. Okay. I've never rolled a cigar, but that's what it supposedly is like. So we're just gonna roll this up.
burrito.
This is okay. This is why you have, when you have those divots on your knife, that's what it's for, so these things don't get stuck, but this one doesn't have it. Okay, so we're gonna just slice really thin, and these are ribbons. And that's it's a really nice touch for our basil there. So we're gonna put the basil on, we're gonna put a little seasoning. I just used the Dash, the table blend, nothing with too much kick there. So, and my scallions, there's the scallions. So the scallions, so we'll go ahead and mix that up. Scallions here, you keep it with a damp paper towel around the roots there and kind of close. It doesn't have to be perfect. I cut off the end a little bit so this big bunch wouldn't stick out. The one thing about when you got, ooh, it's purple. Okay. And we'll
Right through that bad boy.
oh shoot. Okay, we're a little well done. It should be, it's gonna taste fine. We want to show it to the group here. So you can see we did get very dark. I did forget about it, so it's a quarter after. So I probably should have taken it out a few minutes earlier, but it's still gonna taste good because that caramelization has gone to aromatic. It's not caramelized, it's beyond that, is what we're doing with the broccoli. It's what we call aromatic compounds there. It's what happens with Brussels sprouts and broccoli because it doesn't have the sugar that like tomatoes and red pepper have in it. So with the scallions, you want to make sure you just cut off a little bit off the end here, but then I want you to chop and use this dark green. Why? I actually gave you the answer at the beginning. Why do we want to make sure we use the dark green? Antioxidants. It's got more antioxidants in this end, okay? It's actually technically lower glycemic index. It's not a big difference, but always use these ends. A lot of people don't use this. They think, oh, just use the white. Oh, I use the green all the time. So, okay, so there we go. That's done. We don't want to overcook the zoodles, so just watch them and make sure, because getting soggy is one thing we want to watch out for. It's just, basically the zoodles themselves, we're just heating them through. So there's not much cooking. It's the cooking of the tomato to bring out a little bit, the garlic, and then everything from there is just kind of heating it through. So it's a quick dish. It can be done very quickly. We did 3 zoodles here, 3 zucchini here. So we did quite a few here. So it's a big batch. You can do zoodles like half and half. If you're with a family that you're like, they're not going to go for that, try half and half. And, you know, they'll just see, kind of try it out, see if they do that. So it's good veggie, it's good flavor, it's nice and light. So, okay, so we've covered reduced balsamic, quinoa, the quinoa berry salad, roasted veggies, the broccoli, both microwave steamed and roasted. We've got the peanut crunchy bowl, zoodles. So we've got the edamame in the shell and out of the shell. We got to try that again, but at least you have your mind is open to it now. So you've been exposed to it. Let's see, basil here. I wanted to show you. Basil is pretty. I call it the high maintenance herb.
So you want to, when you get it home, you want to wrap the stem here in the damp paper towel to keep it from going brown. Okay, it's going to go brown otherwise in like a day or two. So it's pretty delicate. So any of your more fragile herbs, typically we don't put the basil in here because it's just not going to stay well in here. That's why we wrap it with the damp paper towel there. Questions? Yes.
So, I do find that basil goes bad really quick. You know,
Yes.
I cut so much. Are you okay with just using these little, in McCormick jars, like?
Sure, yes. I've done that sometimes at freeze dried, sometimes when I've been stuck. I do like the fresh. I mean, it depends on what you're making. Like if I'm making bruschetta, it's got to be fresh. So something like that. So, but yes, definitely in like this, you could probably do zoodles. Just, yeah, try that out. Try it out. I like that. That'll make it more accessible too. So action steps, everybody take a moment before you come up here to try a dish. Check off 1, 2 maybe things. Those at home, make sure you do your action steps. Just 1 or 2. So I know for some of you, you're high achievers and you want to go for like 5, but this is something you want to really continue on. It's not just for 4 weeks. If you want the nutrition assessment link and you didn't get it, let me know. I tried to catch everybody who came last week. I got a couple people that said they couldn't make it last week, but they wanted it. So just make sure you've reached out to me if you haven't gotten it. And next week we're going to be doing wraps and tofu and plant-based. So focusing on what's so special about plants. Thank you guys. And we're going to get set up here for eating. Thank you. Thank you, Rose, and everybody else at home.